Alright, I've enjoyed the few alternate reality videos we've done so far, the MVPs, the finals matchups. I'm only going to be able to do a couple more of these, so this may even be the last one. However, we're going to look at the alternate rookie of the year, so same thing as the other two videos, looking at who actually won, looking at the runner-ups, and then taking a look at some fun facts, because as you saw with the MVP voting, there were guys that you would never associate with MVPs that actually ranked some years, so there's probably some fun things hiding in these rookie of the year races. And so, beginning with the year 2010, Tyreke Evans, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He was being mentioned with names like LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, just in terms of that stat line in a rookie year. So very rarely do we ever see players mentioned with those stats that aren't actually reaches, and then they fall off the way Tyreke Evans did. But at least for that year, it looked like the Kings had some very bright days in front of them. It also looked that way for the Warriors because Steph Curry, age 21, he played second and he did pretty decent that year. He had 391 points compared to Tyreke Evans 491. He won 43 first place votes compared to Tyreke Evans 67. And you might be thinking, well, Curry didn't play enough games. He actually played 80 games. He just wasn't scoring as much as Tyreke Evans, not rebounding as much. I'm gonna assume his defense probably wasn't the same. So the numbers were not that far off, but yeah, Steph Curry actually did have a rookie year that foreshadowed greatness. And your fun fact for the 2010 Rookie of the Year race, Taj Gibson came in 5th place tied with Johnny Flynn. They both scored 2 points. And as you may know from the draft retrospective videos that I was doing back in like March, April, Johnny Flynn was selected before Steph Curry. People were worried about Steph Curry's size and lack of athleticism. Meanwhile, Johnny Flynn was smaller, but he was athletic, so that was kind of the difference between Steph Curry being a Timberwolf and being a Golden State Warrior. Go figure. 2011 was an absolute blowout in a rather talented field. However, Blake Griffin was in a Ben Simmons situation before social media and NBA Twitter is what it is now. Blake Griffin, he fractured his kneecap, I believe, in his rookie year during preseason. So this was technically his sophomore season, but nobody gave a shit because there was no NBA Twitter to spread fake outrage. And therefore, he won Rookie of the Year unanimously. He got all 118 first place votes. Your runner-up that year was actually John Wall, who won 295 points total. Again, he did not even come close. The maximum amount of points that year was 590, which Blake Griffin did hit, and rightfully so. Right out of the gate, he was averaging 23 points and 12 rebounds. Those are numbers that you start getting from guys as they progress through their career. So your fun fact for the year 2011, Gary Neal actually placed in the Rookie of the Year. Actually, Gary Neal and Landry Fields. A lot of you probably don't even remember Landry Fields. His 9 points and 6 rebounds for the New York Knicks was good enough for him to win 62 points, so I mean, I guess. Your 2012 Rookie of the Year is very nearly unanimously Kyrie Irving. He got 117 first place votes. Only 3 other players received first place votes, and they were singular. It was Kenneth Faried, Kawhi Leonard, and Iman Shumpert. They all won 1 first place vote each, so Kyrie still ends up winning this in an absolute landslide. He averages 19 points, 5 assists, a steal, shoots 46%, 40% from 3, and is one of the more clutch rookies in the league, one of the more clutch players in the league. I remember I read his stat multiple times about his 4th quarter scoring with a certain amount of time left. Basically, the attributes that he's exhibited throughout his entire career, the attributes that he exhibited in the NBA Finals, they were foreshadowed as a rookie. So he picks up the award. The runner-up happens to be Ricky Rubio, who does not receive a first place vote, but does receive 170 points overall. And despite tearing his ACL, Ricky Rubio has made a decent career for himself. However, back in the day when he was placing second in a Rookie of the Year race, we really expected him to be like co-star to Kevin Love. Your fun fact for 2012 is that Kemba Walker actually placed 11th in Rookie of the Year voting out of 12 total slots. He only received 3 points. And so check it out. Kemba Walker comes behind players such as Marshawn Brooks, Chandler Parsons, Brandon Knight, Isaiah Thomas. People seem to think he just came out of nowhere with the Celtics. He was actually 7th that year. He was decent for the Kings. Yeah, Kemba Walker is all the way down here behind those guys with Josh Selby. It's funny how things turn out. Your Rookie of the Year for the 2013 season is unanimously Damian Lillard, who comes in and breaks Steph Curry's rookie record for 3-pointers in a season. He averages 19 points, 7 assists, and I really did take a liking to Lillard as a rookie. I was just so excited to see this talented guard come seemingly out of nowhere because he had fallen just a little bit in the draft. You hadn't heard about him as much. You didn't really know he was going to come in and have the immediate impact or be as good as he was. And think about that for a second. He won Rookie of the Year unanimously, and he came in the same class as Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal, and Andre Drummond. By the way, Anthony Davis was your runner-up. AD won 306 points total. However, he only played 64 games, so he's kind of always been injury prone, even though this year he's having a pretty good season on that front. But yes, Damian Lillard played all 82. He had better numbers. And yeah, that's crazy to think about. Considering where the two players are now, that is insane. Your fun fact for 2013 is that Dion Gummy Waiters comes in 5th place for Rookie of the Year. Yes, once upon a time, Dion did look like he was going to be decent. He did not seem like he was going to be getting suspended every other week. Oh, also Chris Copeland was tied for 6th with Harrison Barnes. Copeland received 8 points for Rookie of the Year. He was averaging 8 points and 2 rebounds, so yeah, if you remember Chris Copeland, then you probably know how funny this is. 2014 had a fairly disgusting looking Rookie of the Year race. It is led by Michael Carter Williams, who wins 104 first place votes. He takes home Rookie of the Year with averages of 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and one of the better rookie debuts against the Miami Heat nonetheless, the Miami Heat Big Three, so we thought Carter Williams was serious, and look where we are now. Oddly enough, this award would have been more representative if it went to your runner-up, Victor Oladipo. Oladipo held averages of 14 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and he won only 16 first place votes and 364 points total to Michael Carter Williams' 569, so it was not a close race. And obviously Oladipo got a lot better once he left Orlando, which seems to be the case most of the time. And super duper fun fact, although it was expected, our guy Giannis Antetokounmpo in the 2014 Rookie of the Year race, he received 1 point. He was part of a 3-way tie for 7th with Steven Adams and Nick Kalathis. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of you know who that is. But yes, that shows you that it is not about where you start. Giannis is the best player in this race by multiple country miles now. And I think this is one of the only other Rookie of the Year races where the winner actually now has multiple guys who were in this race ranked in front of him. Very strange year. Oh, also, Trey Burke was 3rd that year, so yeah. Your 2015 Rookie of the Year is Andrew Wiggins, who we can actually no longer clown because this year he has shown signs of life. In that year, he came in averaging 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. He was not really that efficient. He's never been known for efficiency, but it was good enough for 2015 because there was really no kind of names here. Just to give you an idea, the runner-up was Nikola Mirotic. He won 14 first place votes. Wiggins won 110. It was not a close race. The other names here are Nerlens Noel, Alfred Payton, Marcus Smart, Yusuf Nurkic, and Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, in 2015, especially because we were all expecting Andrew Wiggins to be this great player and a future Hall of Famer, yeah, he would have actively had to have tried to lose this race. 2016 is a good and interesting one, so we again have another unanimous win. It's Karl Anthony Towns this time. He wins all 130 first place votes, and he has killer averages for a rookie. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, shooting 54% from the field and 34% from 3, so especially for a center, that is magnificent. Already came in stretching the floor. Now, the names behind him is what makes this interesting, so your runner-up happens to be Kristaps Porzingis. He gets no first place votes, but he is also special, and so is the 3rd place Nikola Jokic. Now, it feels like we really only started hearing about Jokic last year, particularly closer to the playoffs. Before then, it was kind of like if you were paying attention to the Nuggets, then you knew that they really had something. However, I would consider last year his breakout year, even though he has cooled off. He only averages 10 points and 7 rebounds that year. But what's interesting here is you see 3 big men that kind of shaped the future of where the league was going. So instead of having guys like Dwight Howard or traditional centers, all of these guys are multi-dimensional big men. So you have Jokic with the passing and shooting, Kristaps with the handles and shooting, Towns stretching the floor and being able to be dominant inside. I just found that really interesting that all in the same year we got 3 really transitional big men. So again, Porzingis is your runner-up, but at 4th place we have Devin Booker. So I would say all 4 of these guys are still pretty important players in the league today and are going to be very important going forward into the 2020s. That was a pretty good draft class. At 5 you have Jahlil Okafor. Okafor averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds. The last player in this race is 9th ranked D'Angelo Russell. Receives 1 point, but is clearly one of the better players from this draft. 2016 was pretty stacked. 2017 was just a miserable year all around, and it's pretty representative that Malcolm Brogdon is your Rookie of the Year. Now, I want to throw this in there. It's interesting that at the time, obviously this just kind of seemed ratchet because we knew Embiid was the Rookie of the Year, but due to him only playing 31 games, you could not give him the award. but that was definitely the best rookie. And then at the time, Brogdon is only averaging 10 points, 4 assists. However, now Brogdon is an integral part of the Pacers. He was important to Milwaukee. So although he is not the superstar of this class, it's just funny how that turned out that he won Rookie of the Year, and now he's actually showing more of his value. Either way, Joel Embiid was not your runner-up. It was actually Dario Saric. Saric wins 13 first place votes, 266 points overall, so one of the closer races we've had here considering Brogdon wins 414 points. Embiid, again, only 31 games, so he wins 177 points. However, he gets 23 first place votes, so more than Saric. Rodney McGruder received a vote for Rookie of the Year in 2017, so yeah, take that for what you will. 2018, the infamous Rookie of the Year race, we already know, Ben Simmons. People's only argument is, hey, he's not actually a rookie, he got to hang out with the Sixers all year, so technically it should be Donovan Mitchell, and I am glad that bullshit narrative did not win the day. Just wanted to put a reminder out there, nobody cared about this with Blake Griffin and John Wall. It really never came up. Social media wasn't as prominent, so there was simply less tears. Ben Simmons wins 90 first place votes and 481 points overall. He averages 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Despite never taking a three-pointer, despite everyone knowing he will not take a three-pointer, he shoots 54% from the field. Or from the paint, I should say. So he comes in nearly averaging a triple-double, and the Sixers improved significantly with his presence. It was really hard not to give him Rookie of the Year just because he got to hang out with them and study their plays and all that. I get it, but that was not enough not to vote for him. And it showed, people made the right choice. Donovan Mitchell only received 11 first place votes, but he did win 323 points overall, so Mitchell averaged 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and shot 43% from the field, 34% from 3. Utah does, however, get to the second round of the playoffs, so Mitchell was definitely a part of that. Fun fact, Dennis Smith received a vote here. Dennis Smith Jr. He's definitely had a disappointing career thus far, but in his rookie year he came in averaging 15 points and 5 assists. However, due to some trades and role changes, his career has definitely dipped, but he's still very young and there's still time. Also, let's be real, very few people are ever going to prosper in New York. And finally, your 2019 MVP was very close to being unanimous. Luka Doncic wins 98 first place votes, 496 points overall. The only other first place votes, 2 of them go to Trae Young. And how funny, we are now in the 2020 season and both of them are showing out. Both of them are playing like multiple year vets when they are sophomores. Anyways, it was fairly easy for Luka because Trae didn't really come along until about halfway through last year. It took him some time to progress. At the beginning of the season, it was almost looking like a mistake. It was looking like it might turn into one of those tragic draft stories for Atlanta because they had Luka Doncic and they traded him for Trae Young. Anyways, Young finished that season with 19 points and 8 assists. Doncic 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Around the same numbers when you're looking at field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. And this season, I don't think you could be any happier if you're either one of these teams. Of course, the Mavericks are actually winning games. They're in a better situation. Atlanta does not yet have a real competitive team around Trae. However, as individuals, they are both prospering. Honestly, there's nothing that crazy about the 2019 Rookie of the Year race. We're only 1 year removed, but a lot of these guys are decent at worst. So there was 9 players in this race. Outside of Doncic and Young, you had DeAndre Ayton, Jaren Jackson, Colin Sexton, Shai Gilgeous, Marvin Bagley, Josh Okogie, and Mitchell Robinson. So yeah, in one way or another, all of these players are somewhat useful. And even if they're not having the greatest seasons right now, it's clearly time for them to show that this could be a very strong draft class. And it would definitely end up one of the best stories because being that your runner-up is Trae Young, and it's looking like him and Luka are going to be linked throughout their careers, yeah, this was definitely a good Rookie of the Year battle. Alright, so those are your alternative Rookie of the Years and some fun facts about these races. And if you really cared about Ben Simmons that much, I expect all the fake outrage if Zion Williamson comes back healthy next year and he ends up winning Rookie of the Year. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub. Also, make sure to check out the rest of the marathon I've done so far. This may be the last alternate race video that I do. I'm not sure if anybody cares about Defensive Player of the Year or 6-man that much, however, I have had fun with these. So if you'd like to see that, leave it in the comment section, hit the like button, and make sure to hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a video drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.